A reading from the first letter of St. John. Children, it is the last hour, and just as you have heard that the Antichrist was coming, so now many Antichrists have appeared. Thus we know this is the last hour. They went out from us, but they were not really of our number. If they had been, they would have remained with us. Their desertion shows that none of them was of our number. But you have the anointing that comes from the Holy One, and you all have knowledge. I write to you not because you do not know the truth, but because you do, and because every lie is alien to the truth. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Responsorial Psalm. Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice.
Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice.
Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord, all you lands. Sing to the Lord, bless his name. Announce his salvation day after day.
Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice.
Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. Let the sea and what fills it resound. Let the plains be joyful and all that is in them. Then shall all the trees of the forest exalt before the Lord.
Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice.
The Lord comes. He comes to rule the earth. He shall rule the world with justice and the peoples with his constancy.
Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came to be through him, and without him nothing came to be. What came to be through him was life, and this life was the light of the human race. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. A man named John was sent from God. He came for testimony, to testify to the light, so that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to testify to the light. The true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world came to be through him, but the world did not know him. He came to what was his own, but his own people did not accept him. But to those who did accept him, he gave power to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not by natural generation, nor by human choice, nor by a man's decision, but of God. And the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the Father's only begotten Son, full of grace and truth. John testified to him and cried out, saying, "This is he of whom I said, the one who is coming after me ranks ahead of me, because he existed before me." From his fullness we have all received grace in place of grace. Because while the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God. The only begotten Son, God, who is at the Father's side, has revealed him. The Gospel of the Lord. First letter of St. John assures us that, in fact, it's the last hour because of all these things happening. Last hours are often also the transition to first hours. And so as we know, this is the last day of a calendar year. The transition is to the first day of a new calendar year. These transitions always seem to exist for us, okay, in our existence. That's a great famous line from the beginning of Mitch Albom's book, The Five People You Meet in Heaven. All endings are also beginnings. We just don't know it at the time. And so the Pope that we're talking about today, Pope St. Sylvester I, was the Pope pretty much in the exact same time frame as Constantine the Emperor. Now, imagine after all of the persecutions, all the bloodiness, all of the martyrdoms and whatnot, all of the burials, that all of a sudden you get an emperor who says, not only do you have the permission to exist as a religion, but he even starts building churches for you. There are they're called major basilicas in Rome, and let me talk to you briefly about 8 of them, okay? The 4 classic ones, of course, are St. Peter's, St. Paul's, Mary Major, and John Lateran. Let's talk about them for just a second, do a little historical geography. John Lateran, the very first one, and our Pope Sylvester today was there for the dedication of that basilica, built on Constantine's own property, okay? Then the other basilicas that are built by Constantine's order or shortly afterward. St. Agnes outside the walls, St. Lawrence outside the walls, St. Paul's outside the walls, okay? Then you've got St. Sebastian on the catacombs, way outside the walls, and St. Peter's that didn't have to be designated that way because it was already on the wrong side of the Tiber, so to speak, already all outside the city limits anyhow. What do they all have in common? Well, they're all cemeteries. They're all churches built on the graves of some of the great martyrs, whether it's Peter or Paul or St. Agnes or St. Lawrence, whatever it happens to be. So there is, can you imagine it, a place or a series of places in Rome where the commemoration was one of bloody martyrdom and death. And all of a sudden, churches, halls of worship are being built on top of or next to those graves. What an incredible turnaround of celebration. That was the miracle of transformation that occurred in the Roman Empire, in the city of Rome at least, in the reign of Constantine, but also during the papacy of Pope Sylvester. What must have occurred to him? He became pope in 314 AD, after the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, and right 1 year before the Edict of Toleration. But he grew up in the persecutions of Diocletian. What an awesome transformation must have been like that in his mind. How could this happen? God is with us, after all. This is the transformation that we all long for. So much of what we go through in the course of a year brings sorrow. And sometimes all we can see are the tombs of the martyrs. But the promise that we have in Jesus Christ is that over those tombs, glorious goodness will come. And so as we celebrate this Eucharist and we celebrate the ultimate glorious goodness of Jesus Christ for us, we thank God for the end of 1 year, the beginning of a new, and the act of hope that we have in him. Let us stand and pray.